Oh, I'm live. I'm live, am I? Okay, well, that was quick. Hello. Wasn't ready to just go live immediately, but here we are. Okay. Hello and welcome to Customising Live. I'm Craig Warrack, and this is my channel. You know all that stuff already. Anyway, okay, so today I'm going to be continuing customising my my KANG the Conqueror figure. Corbin Fan 84 says hi, Craig. Hello, Corbin Fan 84. So yes, this is the second part of me customizing this guy live on YouTube. I do it more frequently on Instagram, and I tend to only do it on YouTube when I think I know where I'm going with the custom. So I hope to know where I'm going with this custom today. I did try and do a live stream last weekend, and it was a bit of a disaster. The YouTube app that I used to stream from my phone kept crashing, and yeah, what could I do? So I've tried to not go too far, progress too far in the past couple of weeks. I want to be able to sort of document me making this thing, because I know you guys enjoy that. So yeah, I'll just wait till, I was going to say I'll wait till a few more people turn up, but looks like we've already got about 20 people here already, so thank you for joining me. I can try and keep the, how do I see, oh, there's the chat messages. You have to excuse me while there's people saying hi. Gentleman Death says, hi Craig, remember me. How can I forget you, Death? You're my constant companion. Okay, so where had I got to? So I had at the end of the previous customizing live, I had primed KANG all black, and in between that and now, I did some priming of him as I did some grey and then white on top of that to get the highlighting, contours, make sure the sculpt looked okay, check for paint rub, those kind of things. I did all that, and you can see that sort of version of KANG in the thumbnail for this video there on the left hand side of the thumbnail. And then I tried to start putting colour on him, and people may have seen some of that last weekend if they were here for the live stream before it went tits up. So I really made a mess of putting colour on him actually. I started trying to do metallic sort of colour schemes on him, and it went pretty badly. I tried to do just try to figure out where the colours are going to fall on him, and I didn't like anything I was doing. So at the end of the live streams last weekend, I was just like, no, let's go back to square one. So I took that paint scheme off and I just started with the primer again. And so I don't waste your time on here, he said as he spent 3.5 minutes wasting your time already. I've already been practicing with the sort of paint and where I want to go with this. So hopefully I'll have something to show today. So I'm hoping to make good progress with painting KANG today by using my airbrush and my brush, and getting him looking like he's nearing completion. Hopefully. So thank you for joining me once again. Churro Boy 101 says, love the Dr. Doom shirt. Thank you very much. It is. He has a much better body than I do. Maybe by wearing him, yeah, I can channel some of that. It's not something I would really wear around. It's one of my painting shirts. So here we have it. So everyone that's saying hi to you. But let's get down to the customizing. I'll try and flip my camera around and see where we're at. There we go. Sniff. Righty. So here we go. Welcome to the workbench. You've been here before. You know the deal. Let me try and get a good angle where I can also get in. And I'll try and keep an eye on what's happening. Okay, so this is Kang, you'll see I primed his body with grey and white, that sort of thing, just to get the contouring in, see what that looks like. And then I've actually went in with a very dark blue and then sort of sprayed light blue on top of that, just to get his sort of under suit going on. I've done that on the legs where that would show as well. And then I've done that. This is basically the sort of colour scheme I'm going for. Let me bring in my light a bit better. So this is, the kind of thing I'm going for with Kang. So there's the dark blue undersuit with the purple armour on top of that. So I've just been really practicing on this leg, and then going to apply that to the rest of the figure. I did also do some airbrushing on the face. This isn't at all a finished sort of look for him, but I just had spare paint left in my airbrush after I did these sections, so I just chose to work on the head. So I think he's coming along nicely. And I've also done his feet. It is very, very simple, just airbrushing. I could probably add a highlight along that sort of line of the armour there that's sculpted in. And one of the things that I was kind of struggling with, if you joined me in one of my live streams on Instagram, or the crap one that happened here on YouTube, was the sort of how the metallics are always better when you airbrush them. This is his left shoulder. So I worked on that some with the airbrush as well. It's like a brass. Is it brass? It's copper. It's a copper base, and then gold highlights with then silver on the edges, just to pick out the raised surfaces. And I quite like that. It looks, when you apply metallics with an airbrush, they just come out so much better than they do when you just brush them on. So yeah, that's his shoulder there. What else have we got? Okay, so I'm going to be working on the arm to go with that. So we've got the purple and then the gold down here and here. I was a little bit worried when I first started painting him that when I painted really bright gold, it was just very, very garish. But this sort of more copper muted version seems to balance a lot better with the colour scheme. So I'm going for it. And I've also I did his butt and his crotch. We go ahead and did them as well. Again, because they were very straightforward, simple parts that I just had enough paint in my airbrush left to do. And I did his collar piece as well to go on there. I think that's looking pretty great, actually. I'm really happy with how that's turned out. So this is a combination of brushwork and airbrushing. The airbrush gives me the sort of base tone you see from the light at the top fading into the dark at the bottom. That gives me that sort of effect. And then the brushwork lets me get in the line work, the sort of the dark recesses in there, and really bring out the detail. And also the little sort of the ports he has with the lights in them. Wasn't sure what colour to do that as, but I went with the blue because I think that's going to marry up nicely with I have the idea that these raised lines on his eyes, and his eyes himself will be very, very light blue, almost white, so I'm hoping that ties his face onto his body there. So there we go. And for those who haven't watched the first episode, I do have this poncho that was made for me by a very helpful, awesome customizer, Scotticus Customs. He also made this for me. Um, so I'm hoping that all comes together at the end once he's got his belt and his whatever you strap on the front there. So yes, that's where I am up to. This is his belt. So you can see some remnants here of the. Sorry, I always get thrown when a comment that says something about my dead friend Glenn just pops up unthinkingly on my feed. But there we are. Thanks for that. Um, this is the purple metallic paint job that I gone for, and while it looks okay, you know, it just doesn't have quite the boldness of just the actual plain color itself. And they're very difficult to then work on the highlighting and that sort of thing. And this was all over him when I did the paint job that I didn't like. So I've removed that, and I'll repaint this as well. That's his belt. It goes around the front there. Yeah, but still has to be painted. And he also has these weapons. He's got this sort of officer sword with a basket handle. This kind of gladius, which I'm thinking I'm going to put that blue light that you can see in his collar. I'm hoping like I can use this as just a general kind of motif across, so the blue light will be up in these sort of troughs you see on the weapon here, bringing it sort of from a sort of weapon of the past into sort of a weapon of the future kind of thing. And also he's got this gun, and these have all been primed black, and I've not really thought much more about them than that. Okay, so where should I start? I might start by I wonder if I should do his body, do his arm. His other leg. His face. Well, I think I'll be doing purple. So I want to people like it when you paint faces though, so I'm kind of thinking I might do that. Might be a good microcosm. But indecisive as always. Okay. Let's get down to. Let's just do his arm. Right, let me move all the pieces I'm not going to be painting out of the way so that I don't accidentally airbrush them in the background. Laserduck asked me, Craig, is this Kang inspired by a certain artist's interpretation? It's really my own. I talk about that at quite great length in the first part of my Customizing Wise Kang series. But it's really a combination of different things. It's past versions of Kang I'm trying to merge into this version of him, emphasizing the sort of future Egyptian time traveling warrior king kind of aspects of him, so that when you look at him, you get an idea of what he's about. Kang is quite, his costume design doesn't really say much about him. Can't really tell what he's about just by looking at him, so I wanted to change that. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be spray painting this what am I trying to say? I'm going to be spray painting this. The color, the word I'm looking for is purple. So I'm yeah, I'll just go for it, I guess. And then I can mask that off and spray paint that gold. And I want this to be purple too, I think. Okay, so using an airbrush gets a little bit complicated when you've got multiple colours going on in the same area. So I'm using this stuff. I've just started using it in the past couple of days. Liquid mask. It's it's liquid masking fluid. So it's you just paint it on, and it's like a water soluble latex essentially, and it protects any parts. It forms a skin over any parts you've already painted. So because I've already airbrushed this blue, and I quite like the nice gradient it's got, I don't want to get the purple all over it. So but the gold I'm going to be repainting anyway, so I don't need to worry about that, masking that, because it's going to get another coat of paint over the top of it. So this is the part just here that's going to be purple. And because it's I'll just do a couple of other parts as well. Do that. Because I'll likely have too much paint in my airbrush, I always do. So I can also probably do this arm as well. Excuse me. Now I would remove this arm, but when I tried to remove it, and I don't know if it was in the last customizing live or what, the plastic peg that's kind of holding it in place did look like it was going to tear and break. So I've just left that on, and I'm not going to risk trying to heat and stretch that off, you know. It's perfectly fine for rotating, doing what it's supposed to do, but I'm not going to risk snapping a peg and then having to do a repair on the figure. Wait, what am I doing? It's the total wrong bit I'm masking. Brush is getting a bit full of latex, so I'll just clean it off and get back to it. So unlike actual like mold making latex that I've used before, this seems to be much thinner and is more easily removed from your brushes and that kind of thing, so you can actually just paint it on. And then to remove it, you just peel it off, like bad sunburn. So I'm going to be catching up on the chat in the room in just a moment or so while I let this just sit for a bit and do its making a skin thing. I can see it. I'm very aware of it flashing, the chat flashing away in the corner of my eye while I'm doing this, but I'm focusing on this just now. I'll be with you shortly. Oops. Messed that up a little. This is the first time I've used this liquid latex, and there's probably people out there going, Craig, you're doing it all wrong. But I just make up how to use it, so whatever. Okay, so it's all going to be purple, isn't it? Yeah. Excuse my sniffing today. I always seem to catch a cold to these things. I think it's actually it's when I don't wear my mask when I'm sort of airbrushing and that sort of stuff. The fumes from the cleaning get to me. That doesn't excuse the dinosaur noises that are belching from my throat uncontrollably. Do beg your pardon. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to happen at all. Come on, Craig. Okay. Right. And I can also do purple. And the head I can also do purple, so I want to mask off his face. Because I quite like the paint job I've got started on his face anyway. Okay. So I am just going to let them sit for a moment. Clean off this brush and see what people have been saying in the chat. Thank you for bearing with me there. Okay. Oh, I have to go back quite a lot. Okay. Cole Comics says, have you made any other comics like the one in one of your old videos? No, I haven't. That was the only comic I've made. And you can check that out in a video for anyone that hasn't seen it. One of my old videos, so it's incredibly long and well, kind of like this. It's called I Was the Teenage Customizer, and I show you this comic that I made, and I also made action figures from the comic. Hoth Rebel 86 says, Craig, do you like clear or translucent figures? Do you ever use them for customizing? I do like them. I have a strange sort of attraction to clearer, transparent, translucent figures. I used one for my Swarm custom, so if you haven't checked out that, please go ahead and check that. Cole Comic says actually I did use one for a ghost custom, but that was just, it wasn't really for the translucency, it was for just for the body type. Um, um, People are asking me about using silly putty and poster tack. I don't know. I've not used them. I used like blue tack one time on a thing, and it just ripped the paint off the part that I wanted to protect. So it actually ended up making things worse. Um, Cole Comics says, "Are you interested in creating comics?" Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess so. I mean, we all have kind of ideas in our head, but I'm not really, I wouldn't say a comic creator, or I don't put any time into that sort of thing. So I'm an action figure customizer when I'm not at work. So that's where we're at. Righty. So you can see that sort of glossy film that's now appeared on the parts where I put the latex. So that's the latex doing its thing, protecting it from paint, we hope. Now, I'm going to be using my airbrush. This is my airbrush over here. This is on, let me say, Iwata Revolution CR. It's the only airbrush I've ever used. It seems to work for me. I don't have a huge amount of success with it. I don't know whether that's down to me, the airbrush, the compressor. I don't really know the paint I'm using. There's so many things that are going on with an airbrush, but I think I'm getting slowly better at it and understanding what an airbrush is for and what it's not for. I use it for sort of large areas of base colour now, and what I'm going to be doing is getting some purple. So I want the Vallejo Game Air Alien Purple, this colour, and I want to get a very deep black, so I need black, and I'm just going to use my black primer to mix in with it. There's probably something very wrong about doing that, but that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to be thinning it down with thinner, just to get a really thin coat and make sure it doesn't clog my airbrush, which is my main problem with airbrushing, is that it between colours you have to clean it out and it clogs so easily. It's just high maintenance. I'm also going to be putting on my mask so that I don't, chemical the fuck out of my nose. So, right, what I'm going to be doing is mixing up a purple in here and then putting it into my airbrush. So I need quite a lot of purple, so I think I want about a 50-50 mix, so that's an equal amount of both. So I'm not really shaking this. Two, 3, 15 drops of that. Look, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm just and then let's see. Maybe that's about the same amount. Looked like the same drop count. way too much purple. No, I'm just making a mess, really, haven't I? This is way too much paint. I don't need this much at all, but you know, fucked up the ratio, so that's what we're gonna get. Gonna go with this one over here. So I'm sure people who are smarter, more intelligent, better prepared, more well prepared rather than myself would have a dropper or something that they could then use to get that into the airbrush. But yeah, like I say, they are better, smarter, well prepared, better prepared people than I. Okay, I'm going to be spraying about, I think about 20 psi. So this will be noisy, by the way. So what can I do? Whoops. Right, I've got all the bits now. Before I move on to another colour, I just want to make sure I've got everything right. I think that's it. Whoops. Okie doke. Turn this off for a minute. Right, so I'm now gonna clean this airbrush. So like I said, this is the downside of airbrushing as far as I'm concerned, is every time you use a colour, unless you're going darker or something, you pretty much have to get it all cleaned out. And even if you are going darker, the paint can start sort of curing inside your cup and just wreck it. So yeah, just poured it all over my hand, as I'm sure you were able to see there. That's what happens when I try and do stuff for the camera, not for myself. Right, Sorry, thrilling. Okay, sorry, let me try and catch up on some of the chat. Just try and... Webster Films asks, can you make a combo figure like Batman and Spider-Man or Black Panther and Superman? It wouldn't really interest me, but I'm sure I could. Not going to, but... Hoth Rebel 86 says, thank you for being safe, Craig. I need you healthy so you can make more customs. You and me both, thank you. Pat Sheen Lynn says, where do you usually buy Marvel Legends in London? I don't live in London, so I don't usually, but I guess Forbidden Planet would be where you would go. John Strand, hey John, shouldn't you be at the Milwaukee Comic Con? Was asking me what kind of airbrush do you have? It's a Revolution. It's an Iwata Revolution CR. Leo Fro asks, hello Craig, do you like DC Comics? Sure. Any custom figure from them? Maybe Lobo? No, I don't think so. Cole Comic says, I'm back. Do you do any original character designs? This is kind of an original character design, but for a character that's not my own. But no, not really. I'm kind of past that. Like I said earlier, that comic that you see in I Was a Teenage Customizer is my only one, so, and that's my only set of characters I've designed. Right, so now I've got that base dark purple. I'm going to be putting on a layer of this purple. It's a Citadel paint. It's called Xerius purple. Sorry if I'm not saying that. I'm not a Warhammer kind of guy. Xerius purple. Now, luckily, Vallejo and Citadel paints, I'm assuming, are quite chemically similar because the same thinner works on them. Sometimes, like if you put this thinner with I know Gaia color paints, it just becomes all like lumpy and horrible. Not all paints work well together with the same sort of thinners and cleaners, that kind of thing, but Vallejo and Citadel seem to work with the same sort of cleaning and thinning products. So Vallejo Model Air, their Air series, are thinned down for airbrushing. I still thin them a little bit further usually. Citadel's just normal paints are much thicker. They're meant for being used with a brush, so they're much thicker, but they can still be thinned down and used in an airbrush. They do have their own series of air paints, but I've never used them. I just think you get better value for money at one of these. So I'm going to be using that, just not mixing it with anything other than the thinner, and then spraying it on Kang to get a richer purple in him. And I'm going to be spraying it. I want to preserve the shadows from the underside, so I'm going to be trying to spray this colour from the top of each part so that it's always lighter at the top than it is at the bottom, and hopefully that'll create some of these sort of shadows that just happen because of the angle you spray it from the airbrush. That's what I'm going to hope's happening. See if I can actually manage that. We shall see. So yes, I'm going back on with my mask, so, and it's going to be noisy, so I won't bother speaking during this part, but do chat away amongst yourselves and I'll get to your comments as soon as I can. Right, so the Xerius purple. So I'm going to mix this straight into the cup itself, I think. little bit. mask off. Oh, there we go. Oof. Oh, I'll scratch my beard too. God. Right. Okay, so yeah, we did we've now got the dark purple with the sort of lighter purple on top of it. So it's already creating some nice sort of tones and gradations in the colour there. And my next step is I put on top of it a colour called Screamer Pink. This used to be called Warlock Purple in the one of the older paint sets of Citadel. Screamer Pink, and I'm going to be putting that on exactly as before, and that'll bring the sort of the purple out into this more sort of reddy pink tone that's more kangy. So yeah, it just adds that sort of more interesting colour tone to it. Now, sorry, let me catch up on the chat. Webster Film says, can you make a Naruto Sage of Six Paths figure? Nope, no idea who that is. I know Naruto, but I don't know any of the others. Or that particular version. Maybe you should make them. That's the point of what I want to do, is encourage people to see that customizing is just someone throwing shit at the wall until it looks the way they want it to. So give it a shot yourself. Trevor Hines says, when are you going to make another female custom? I have no plan at the moment. I don't pick characters based on their gender. So I don't know. When one inspires me. Odiasu, welcome. You're always welcome here. James Stockdale says, hi Greg, firstly, how are you doing today? And secondly, have you seen the Marvel Legends screenshots from Toy Fair? James, I am doing fine today. Thank you very much for asking. I have seen the screenshots from Toy Fair, and there's a lot to look forward to there. Webster Films keeps asking me the same question over and over and over again. But he's now got the message. Okay, Hoth Rebel 86 asks, what's the one figure on top of your wish list to purchase? Mine is the Revoltech Venom Snake from Metal Gear. I don't really have one at the moment. I'm not too sure what that would be. It's a good question. Thank you, but I don't know that I have an answer for you. I think I kind of have. I've kind of got a bit of a fatigue of buying figures at the moment, and there's just so much happening right now. But I just got the Spider-Man Lizard Build-A-Figure wave, and then quickly after that I got the Deadpool Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave, and then I got Reed Richards. So yeah, I've got quite enough at the moment. Thank you very much. I don't have a list that I'm looking for. Star Wars Fan 13 asks, what did you think of the Legends reveals at New York Toy Fair? Yeah, they were good. There's a lot of it going on. The movie series in particular looks really good. I wish I was a movie figure fan. Excuse me, got some trapped wind there. I wish I was a movie figure fan, but I'm not. But those figures look like what we want Marvel Legends to be. We want them to be, have a lot of accessories and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that that sort of success they have with those figures kind of bleeds back into the comic figures, and we get to see some really sort of deluxe versions of comic characters. I'm sure people would rather pay a higher price point for say a Deadpool or a Wolverine or a Spider-Man with tons of accessories rather than a 12-inch icons scale version. Red Green says, you're my favourite customizer, great work. Thank you very much, Red Green, that's very kind of you. Toy Freak Forever asks, what do you think of the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Lizard? I think he's a great figure. I really like him. Yeah, he can be a little bit difficult to get in a pose, I feel. His, digigrade sort of ankles and his pose tend to make him difficult to balance, but I think he's really cool, dynamic figure. Probably not what everyone was looking for, but it's certainly good enough for me. I like it. Trevor Hines says, "Do you have any advice for customizers starting out?" Yeah, don't see problems before you encounter them. When you're starting out, you'll worry about paint rub and all these things. A starting out customizer should just go for it, and you learn as you're doing it. Once you come up against a problem, you can then go and look at how to solve it. But a lot of people start with trying to identify the hurdles and anticipate them. I think puts people off. It makes it seem more complicated than it is. Just go for it. Buy some simple paints, get a starter Citadel paint set, a couple of brushes, and repaint Spider-Man into someone else, or repaint Captain America, or just do something, and then move up from there, get an epoxy putty and do a little bit of sculpting, and then just go for it. That aim asks, where are you from? I'm from Scotland. I'm from central Scotland. Righty, let's get painting more. I'm going to be, as I said, adding the Screamer Pink to this this purple I've put on, and hope that brings out some nice colour detail. I felt that my airbrush felt a little bit clogged when I started to spray the last one. The bane of my existence is this fucking airbrush clogging all its life, but I'm not sure quite how to overcome that. Anyway, let's see what happens. Pray it doesn't clog at this point. Azoz says, maybe you should do Magnus from House of M for your nuts customised figure. What makes you say that? Azoz. And why don't you make him instead? You'll know that I like to be inspired by a character or a character design before I make a custom figure of them usually. So it's just shouting that I should make characters is kind of random to me. God, come on, Craig. Why are you all fingers and thumbs today? You're on camera. Azaz says, maybe I will. Good. That's what we're here for. So yeah, I'm going to be spray painting again down from the top, as if the figure was stand there. Get those highlights in. Whoops. Came out a bit fast there. Woo. Where'd I put the knife? That's right there. Okay. Mask on pig. You like this? That's a good look for me. look like Babe the pig. Oh, Bane. I thought you meant Babe the pig. It looked like a cheap knockoff Bane. A cheap knockoff Bane like the one that was in the movie. Both movies. Am I right? Not that I've seen the Dark Knight Rises or whatever that fucking thing's called. Enemy. Righty, so. Oh! Kick the camera, Craig, why don't you? Right, let's get these clean fluid covered cum rags out of the way. Now, so that's Kang's been purplified. Hopefully to a similar degree as the other leg. Yeah, that's a pretty good match. So you see on this leg, you'll see I've done here, there's just some little bit of pink highlights. So I need to add them in, and I do that with my brush. Just lightly dry brushing just to bring out some of the details, and I also go into some of the deeper recesses with a wash just to darken them down again. Because the airbrush brings you this big, sort of a big canvas feel to gradating your colours, but you just do. I feel you do still need to get in there with a brush and just pick out those details. Oh, look at that colour. Is that a nice thumb? It's nice, that, isn't it? Righty. So where will I go next? So I might try and do the sort of gold parts here. While I've already masked off the blue parts, I might now mask off the purple parts and paint the gold. I can probably actually take the masking material off his like his face. We can maybe see how that looks. Please come off. Please come off. Get on camera. You can do it. Needs tidied up a bit. It's a bit spotched. It's got a bit of the latex still stuck on here and there. I can take that off. Hello. Do you want to be on camera?
No, I'm in my pants.
Oh, that's UK pants, not America pants, right? Okay.
There's tea.
Thank you, beautiful. My husband, Matthew Sanders, everyone. Could he be the most beautiful gender non-specific person in the world? Even though I said he. Anyway, there we go. So the masking fluid does work. So yay! It worked. Will I get taken? Will I not be monetized because now I used I sang a Prince song. YouTube will take me down. Let me get this cup of tea from over here. Oh, look at that. The colour of He-Man. That's how you know it's good. Okay, what did we get? What did I miss? What did I miss? Star Wars Fan 13 asks, have you seen Black Panther yet? If so, what did you think? Yeah, I quite liked it. I thought the ending was very weak. I thought the way he ended up beating what's his face, Killmonger, was pretty poor. He just outfought him. He didn't really use any thing he'd learned over the course of the movie, any internal lesson. There was no arc to his character to defeat him. So that was quite weak. He also didn't really come up with a plan to counter or any sort of ideology that counters what Killmonger was thinking. You know, Killmonger, by the end of it, you're like, you know what, Killmonger's kind of right. And T'Challa doesn't really offer any other alternative to that. So I felt that at the end of it, T'Challa came out looking quite weak, weaker than when he went in. I thought coming out of Civil War, he was a very strong character. But in that, I wasn't all that convinced by him. But those are just minor things. I was disappointed that Claw got killed. I really like Claw as a villain. He's quirky, wacky, made of sound, living sound bad guy. It's like, yes, finally we're going to get an actual proper super villain with wacky powers. But no, they just shot him dead. Oh, spoilers. Oops, that's all spoilers, by the way. I'm sorry if someone hasn't seen it yet. It was terribly insensitive from me. Hoth Rebel 86 says, what accessories would a Craig Warrack action figure come with? I don't know. A crippling sense of inadequacy, impostership, and insecurity, perhaps. A built-in insecurity. We could have that. Bobby Tinsley says, I am working on a custom right now. That's good, so I hope it's going well. If you care to share any details, please do so. Paul Turbo asks, what head did I use? This is the head from Adam Magus, the Marvel Legend. The face, essentially. Ashton Chain says, what did you use to cover the face? It is Vallejo Liquid Mask. I do that in the first part of the video, so you can come back and watch that later. Hoth Rebel 86 says, you like Prince too? Can I make a request? Sing Purple Kang. I don't like Prince, actually. I think he's... I never quite understood him. Understood what the attraction was. There we are. So I don't know the words to Purple Rain, so I can't, apart from Purple Kang, that's the most I can do. Craig and Matt 2-pack with video games and miniature figures a la Hero Clicks. I think we'd have to be sold separately. we couldn't possibly stand to be in the same 2-pack with each other. But there we are. Trevor Hines, are you willing to critique others' work? Sorry for the question. I am a disabled artist trying to follow a dream of action figures and figure. Critique others' work. I don't know. It's difficult. Because people obviously, these things are a work of passion and of effort, time and effort. And people can be quite proud of them. So if people ask me what I think of their customs, I tend to turn it back on them and ask them. But if people want any input, they can maybe drop me a message over on Instagram, and we'll see we'll see. But I will be turning the question back on other people. It's not about what others think of your work, it's about what you think of your work. That is important. Bobby Tinsley says, I'm making a Ninja Turtle. I don't know if it should be Raphael or Leonardo. It should be Donatello, you fool. Ashton Chain says, do you think sketching is important in creating a custom? Sometimes. It's useful for me because, as you've seen, I can be quite indecisive and I have 1,000 thoughts and directions pushing me at the same time. So I like to sketch things out so I'm not constantly changing my mind, although it does still happen. But yeah, I it's not super important unless you're going to be doing a lot of, you know, a lot of customizing, you know, doing a lot of original sculpt to something and all that. Righty. Bobby Tinsley says, I am actually making a Donatello next time, thinking about making him a female. What do you think? Yeah, sure. I'm not sure. I'm not up on my Ninja Turtles. I don't know if a male and female turtle would look different. Do they look different? What's different about them? It better not be breasts and wider hips because they ain't mammals, so that wouldn't make any sense. Or like Miss Pac-Man or Minnie Mouse, where it's just the exact same thing but it's got lipstick on. I'm like, Jesus, great, well done, guys. Um, I don't know if you have a concept for a female Ninja Turtle, then fine. I'm not sure what that would be. It'd just be a male Ninja Turtle in drag, perhaps, or either that or no different from a male Ninja Turtle. Righty. So, I said I was going to do this bit gold, so I shall do that now. And I think that's really, well, I've also got this to do a sort of military green. I want this to be military green down here. So I've got that to do as well. But I'll do this part copper and gold. So that means masking off the purple bits that I've just done. So I'm going to be using this liquid mask again. Shake it up. Tony Killer Bray says, I wish Kapow Toys sold the new Marvel sets in singles. They currently have Songbird. Do they have Songbird? No, that's Comics and Cocktails. Comics and Cocktails sometimes sell single figures, so you might want to go check them out. They've certainly got a single. They're doing singles for that movie Thanos Build-A-Figure wave. I was tempted by Songbird, and then I realised that she's a horrible figure, so didn't bother with it. Freighter Sanguina says, where's the horrible future chair? He don't have one. Ashton Chain, have you ever read Spawn or the short-lived animated series, and what do you think of the character? I've only read the first like 2 or 3 issues of Spawn. I was there back when it started, and I got like the first issue, and I kept it bagged, and there was like the gold one and the silver one. I didn't have those. I just had the normal one, and it came in a bag, and you didn't want to open it because you thought it was going to be worth a ton, because that was just the comic industry at the time. So I think very few people, I think that was probably Spawn's biggest failing, was that very few people actually read it because they all thought its biggest value was in keeping it in its bag. I don't really know much about the character. He's just a very angry person, you know. And I'm not too into hero characters that are just super angry. and hard done by and sit in alleyways and just sulk the whole time. It's just something not very appealing about that kind of thing. But there we are. So yeah, this is me putting on this masking liquid again. So I'm putting it onto the purple parts that I just spray painted, airbrushed, so that the gold I'm going to put on doesn't wreck that. Now gold and metallic paint in airbrushes is just, I find it just super challenging to use. They is that part masked? It's masked again. I think there's something about the flake size that just seems to clog airbrushes so easily. I have very, very limited success using them, but it's really the only way I feel to get a really good metallic look is to use an airbrush. So it's a bit of a crapshoot, to be honest, but we're going to give it a shot. I've covered all the bits I need to. Okay, righty. Now I made a bit of a mess in a couple of points there, so I'm going to scrape that off. Put my finger in it. Fuck's sake, Craig. I just want to make sure I haven't accidentally masked any of the bits I actually want to get painted. But of course I have. You can always tidy that up later once the paint's on. As long as very generally it's okay, then we're good to go. Now, as I said at the start of this video, I'm going to be trying to do this sort of metallic effect on it. This is the shoulder piece, which is a copper base coat, then a gold highlight, and then with my brush just doing some very white gold, kind of silver and gold highlights on top of that, and a wash with a kind of a browny red into the recesses. So let me just let that cure a little bit longer. Hoth Rebel 86 asks, will Todd McFarlane do a good job with the new Spawn movie? I don't know, did he do a good job with the Spawn comic? Star Wars Fan 13 says, what's your favourite MCU movie? Maybe Civil War or The Winter Soldier. Yeah. Iron Man 1 was good as well, of course. Um, Tony Killebray says, what do you think about Frank Castle being Ghost Rider? Is he? I don't know. What do you mean? What do I think? Has that happened, or? I mean, it kind of makes sense, Spirit of Vengeance kind of thing, but um, I always think of Ghost Rider as being, he's kind of like that werewolf kind of thing where the person that the spirit is possessing shouldn't really be into what it's doing. Um, so I think, why would Frank Castle ever stop being a full-on flaming head skeleton kind of thing? Johnny Blaze and Daniel Ketch, I think, always have that kind of they want to be better than just a spirit of vengeance thing, but I don't know that Frank has that in him. But, whatever. Like I say, I've not heard if that's happening or what. Trevor Hines asks, what is your top 5 Marvel characters? I like Doctor Doom, the Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, Reed Richards maybe? Not too sure. Storm, Iceman, Emma Frost. It's hard to... Charles Xavier. Hard to really pin them down. I really like the Superior Spider-Man. Thought that was great. And Doc Ock was great. I mean, they all have their ups and downs. Sometimes Ultron is great. Um, um, sometimes, I don't know. They all have, like I say, ups and downs. So once I get beyond like my top 3 or 4, it starts to get a bit sort of sketchy. But thanks for asking. Hoth Rebel 86 says, Craig, have you ever used chrome paint pens? Yes, I have actually. I'll show you. A friend of mine gave me a chrome paint pen and I used it on Jane Foster. Just to kind of, it was very flat grey like her shoes kind of are there. But I just used it on her helmet and wings. Just to give her a bit more, look nicer on the shelf. So I have used them. Tony Killebray says Frank Castle is the new Thanos in the new Thanos comic. He's his personal rider. Okay. Ashton Chain says, what do you think of Doctor Doom as Iron Man? I think it's fucking stupid. Oh, is that... Yeah, it's... Okay. What about your least favourites? My least favourites are, like, guys with guns and who solve problems by just just getting into a fight. I feel like superheroes spend all their time getting into fights and then at the end they go, wait a minute, we should beat them like this. That's the kind of superhero thing I'm looking for. When it's like, hey, let's get into a fight. Okay, well, that's the fight over. Characters like Wolverine, Deadpool, the Punisher, I guess Cable, just Domino, just characters with just guns and not a lot else going on. Like, their power makes them really good at guns. Like, oh, well, right, okay, great. I don't really get into characters like that. Not saying they're bad, they're just not my kind of characters. Right, I think that's gone on long enough. Let's have a go at this copper then. Now, like I said, metallics kind of block. This is the copper I'm going to be using. It's Vallejo Model Metallic Air Copper. Oops. thinner. Please don't clog my airbrush. Please don't clog my airbrush. I'll put a little bit thinner in first. And then I'll put the copper in. A little bit of a swizzle. Okay, airbrush going on again. Oh fuck, I fucked up already. Let's get rid of this. Okay. That was really I want to put black on first. Oh god, Craig. Ugh. You stupid bastards. Right, okay, black. The metallics look best if you put black on first. I wanted to paint this bit fucking gold, so I need to mask this as well. God, too busy talking about Frank Castle and not paying attention to what I'm doing. So he also has a bit on his the back of his hand also has this gold on it as well, so want to make sure to get that. Making a tit of it. Right. Right, now what was I saying? Oh yeah, black. Sorry, I'll just let that sit for a moment. As always says, Thor's newest costume with golden hammer looks silly on him. I agree. Do you remember what brand chrome paint pen that was? Yes, it was this one here. It's Molotov, so it's like Molotov, but it's got a W at the end. I expect it's still pronounced Molotov in some way, and it's called Liquid Chrome. And this is the 1mm pen that I have here. They can be quite expensive, it seems. So I'm really grateful for getting that from a friend. JCC2224 says, what airbrush would you recommend, Craig? I've been thinking about getting one. I've only ever used one. I don't know if it's the best one. I don't know if it's the worst one. I use it, and that tends to be my approach to everything. I buy one, and then I stick with it, and I learn to get passable with it. And this is the Iwata Revolution CR. Archangel Rutherford, must be a friend of Archangel Michael, says, do you use varnish on the figure after the paint is all done? I use this sealer. It's a Krylon UV resistant clear acrylic coating, and I spray that all over the figure. It will not solve your paint rub problems though, so don't think that is going to solve paint rub, because that's not what sealers do. Ashton Chain says, how do you clean your airbrush? I clean it way too often. Basically, when I come to clean an airbrush, I get the cleaner and I pour the cleaner into the cup while the paint's still in there. I swirl it around with a brush until it's sort of all the paint is coming away from the side of the cup, and then I turn the cup upside down, pour it out, then I get a paper towel and I rub it in there, try and get all the paint out, and then I repeat that. And once I've done that again, it tends to be quite clear. I put a little bit in there again and I spray it through to get the cleaner out. I get some cleaner from the cup and I put it on the I take this little nozzle off and I just run my brush around inside there and around the tip here and get any paint off of these guys, reattach it, and then pour it back out. And that tends to be it clean, but sometimes if you're spraying for a long time, you can get pretty clogged, and then it's a case of disassembling it, taking it all apart, and just maybe putting some cleaner in there, or sitting it in some cleaner overnight or something like that, and then just trying to push the needle back and forward in there. Just sound your airbrush until it gets better. But cleaning an airbrush is a pain in the arse. Needs to be done all the time though. There we go. Right, okay, so let me airbrush this guy black. It's only a small area, so I don't need too much effort. Oh. Whoops. Now, what was I saying? Copper. A little bit thinner in first. Copper. cleaning my airbrush again. So you'll see that the copper that is sprayed on there, it's just got a really nice flat look to it when it's sprayed on top of the black. So it's just something that I can't quite get with the paintbrush, no matter how light a layer and all that sort of thing I try. With metallics too, I try and clean my airbrush super quick because I'm so conscious of the metallics being such a problem with blocking airbrushes. I'm not sure why it is. I think it is because it has actual physical particles in it. The metallic flakes just tend to block things. Hoping that spraying that through hasn't blocked my airbrush and I can go on with the gold now. Now I use the gold to highlight the copper. Again, it's a Royal Model Metallic Air Gold. It's a very metallic yellow. So yeah, so okay. So hopefully that's me done with my metallic airbrush, and actually hopefully that's me done with most of my airbrushing now. I've got the purples, I've got the blues, and I've got the golds in, the metallics. So I'm thinking that's me basically got all his base colours in place. Talking over my compressor here, sorry. Just I'm very conscious of having cleaned this out of all the metallics I've just gone through it. Turn up the pressure so I can get that through. Okay, right. So I think we're good to go with the airbrush. That's that out the way. Now let me get rid of all these cleaning material soaked flags. Thank you. Right. Okay, so the only part that I didn't really get into was this this thing that I'm going to be doing, like a military green. And I haven't really practiced what combination of colours to use there, so I'll probably do that off camera and just focus on I've also got this shoulder pad to do as well, but that should be straightforward. Right, so I'm going to be, I think, focusing on his head for the rest of this. I'll try and peel off the masking stuff that I had on there. Oh, actually peeled off some of the blue there. Touch that up, hopefully. It's just me not being careful enough with my knife. Really. Probably shouldn't be using a knife, should be using tweezers or something, but here we are being stupid. You can also get an old like toothbrush and use that to take off any sort of shreds that are lying around. But anyway, you get the idea with that that masking fluid and what its job is. But yeah, see, there's the bit that I made a bit of a mistake with. I stuck my knife in and lifted off a flake of paint. Let's see. It's a nice bright gold. So yeah, I said I was going to be focusing in on his head, because that's really sort of microcosm of what I'll be doing with the purple and the rest of them, and just righty. So what I want to do first of all is I'm going to darken these recesses. I'm going to put the put some shade back into his head. The airbrush, it's great for gradating tones, but then what you lose with doing you know, sort of gradating tones is you lose the high contrast of bright between dark. There's always a middle ground, so I like to go back in and add in the brights and darks. And so what I'm using here is this called Citadel Shade Nuln Oil. It's just this it's great for doing a wash. It's actually kind of a black silvery kind of thing. I think but it's really just a really watered down black for all intents and purposes, and you can just go in and add it in there and it'll flow into the recesses where you put it in. So I just want to sort of essentially outlining any sort of sculpt work that I've done, so that it doesn't get lost in that gradation of that the airbrush has given us. And like I said, the opposite of doing this darkening, outlining, is to do highlighting as well, and I will do that as well. Still some of this. I didn't peel off all the liquid mask. I find that you don't have to be too tidy with the wash, but it does. There's value in bearing in mind that when you put this over a surface, it will darken it down, and I want to demonstrate that. Just this is a good example. So this was all painted with the airbrush, and then you see this panel here that my thumb is on. This one, it's darker than the one surrounding it. It has had this Nuln Oil applied all over it, so Nuln Oil really darkens the colour. So I wouldn't go washing it over the entire thing because it will bring it all down to be much darker. But it's really good for putting into the recesses and just really strengthening those shadows. Because this is ultimately a scale model, so we have to exaggerate. While it's of course a 3D object, it will create, you know, it already has its own darker recesses. Because it's a scale model, we have to exaggerate highlights and shadows. So I'm not sure what actual colour this, you see outside his face there's this sort of frame that goes around his face. I'm not too sure what colour I want to do that yet. Sometimes on Kang it's purple, sometimes it's blue. I'm going to wait until a bit later till I decide what that should be. Oh god, got it all over the place. Let's use that paint that I spilled on the mat. Waste not, want not. And I'm also not too sure about the either the Urias, the Cobra, or the beard sort of thing. What colour I want those to be. I've done them purple just now, but depending on how it goes, maybe the gold or something could balance those out on his face, so we'll see. God, I'm messy.
So yeah, I'm just putting the null oil on some areas of his head where I think the shadows of the sculpt could be a bit deeper. There's a couple of blobs of sort of blue on his face at a couple of points where clearly the mask wasn't covering, so I'll cover those up. But yeah, it's all looking very dark at the moment because that's really the only detail I'm putting on at the moment is the dark shadow. Let me get my purple again and tidy up some tiny little patches. And my blue. Okay, so I'm going to focus on the purple. So what I have, so you know I've got this dark purple and then this Xerius, the dark purple that I mixed and airbrushed as the sort of base colour, and then I've got this Xerius purple as another layer, and then the Screamer pink on top of that. What I'm going to be doing next is using some of this. It's called Pink Horror, and I use that as an edge highlight. So you can, well, I'll just show you. It's like, is that it? Yeah. Oh, I think, God, did I spray gold all over this? I fucking did. You fool. Oh, it's okay, it rubs off. So yeah, I've got the pink highlight there along some of the edges, just makes them pop out that little bit more. So I'm going to be doing that. Yeah. So I've got a dry brush here. so I could just be using that super sparingly. Just try and hit the edges. Let me catch up in the chat quickly. Hi to everyone that's saying hi to me, by the way. Ashton Chain says, how do you sculpt a muscular body from scratch? Asking the wrong guy. I mean, I don't think there's any special technique to it. You have to know your anatomy. You need, with anything, use your eyes first of all, and then look at how it's been done elsewhere, and then do your own thing, you know? So that's a big question for me to answer here, and I don't think I could, even if I had world enough and time. Bobby Tinsley, Craig, have you ever made a custom of your own design? Please share it with every custom I make is of my own design. You can go check out loads of my custom videos, or you can go check out I was a teenage customizer, and you can see custom characters of my own design there that I did when I was much younger. I've already shared it with you. Tony Kilibray asked, did you like Thor Ragnarok? Yeah, it was good. Odiasu says, I believe... Oh yeah, you're answering another person's question. Thank you. Hoth Rebel 86 says, do you have any interest in traditional canvas painting? Not particularly. If I was good at it, I probably would. Azaz, how many times have Marvel relaunched? It's like they did for 6 times. Yeah, they seem to do it quite a lot. Ashton Chain says, have you ever heard of RWBY? Nope. I've heard of those 4 letters, but not in that particular sequence before. So yeah, you'll see I got some paint on my dry brush, and then I just rub it all off until it's super faint. And then I just try and hit the edges. And you'll see you get that nice little line of pink that's just popping up on the edge. That's the edge highlight that I'm looking for. It helps with the contrast of purple on purple stand out. So this is the companion technique to what I was doing earlier with the putting the non-oil into all the recesses to create the shade. I'm now using this dry brushing edge to create the highlight, to give you that strong contrast between the light and the dark. So that it all, pops, as they say. What are the types of paintbrush used? This is a Citadel dry brush. It's got a number 5 on it. Or is it an S? It's a small dry brush, that's what it is. So Games Workshop Citadel brushes, they're pretty good. You can find pretty much everything you need in there. The very small brush I use, this one, I don't quite know how to say this. Is that O-boot? E-boot? I don't know. 10/0. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, I do a search on eBay for nail art brushes, and these really fine brushes come up, and that's what I use. So you can get pretty much whatever you need from Games Workshop. I tend to recommend Games Workshop because it's convenient. In the UK, most, I would say, major towns have one on the high street or something like that. Something that I am going to do is go and wash my hands, because I am noticing I'm getting some metallic gold flakes on stuff because it's on my hands. It won't stay there. It'll brush off easily afterwards, but it'd be better if I didn't get it in where it doesn't belong, right? Sorry, I'm just getting it close to my face just now, just so I can really see. I'm not doing anything particularly different, so you're not missing out on anything right now. So there you can see the highlighted edge that I've dry brushed on. And that doesn't take a steady hand or anything, that just takes, a dry brush and then just doing that along the edge, And then once you've done that, you can also, like I've done on the collar here, I actually did paint in these highlights. That's not so much a dry brush, because there isn't that big difference in height between this panel and that panel, so that is like me artificially creating an edge there. There is a tiny edge, but it's me exaggerating the edge is really what I want to say. So this is what I can do when there is an actual edge there, is just dry brush and highlight it, and when there isn't really a very well defined one, you can paint that highlight round the side, just very slowly and carefully. I want to just get a little bit more on his beard. How's that? I'm going to go and wash my hands, as I said. Try and get some of this gold flake out of my life. So I will be back presently. I used to have a sign that said "Be right back." Very well. I will indeed be right back. Let me just pop that on there. So yeah, I'm going to do more highlighting on the face, and hopefully bring out the details from, because it's very dark at the moment, I want to bring out the details of the face from that. So I will indeed be right back. Oh, mind yourself, man. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Okay, sorry, let me catch up. What am I missing on? Oz says, your Kang's reminding me of Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers for some reason. Don't you say that every time you see this guy? Do you think that's a compliment or what? Grandmaster Popo, how's it going, Craigery? Fine, thanks. And you? Right. Be right back. I'm back. Okay, so I'm going to be doing the face. Now, I think I want to do much the same with the dry brush and bring out some of these face details. Let's find, what blues have I got? Mark Garrett says you should give him gold teeth. Any particular reason? Jamar Grove says, saw the repaint of Johnny you did for Boog ACBA. Great job, thank you. I did it for myself actually, and then Boog asked if I would do one for him, and I said yeah, sure. Like I would normally say no to everyone who asked me to do any sort of customizing work for them, but Boog, as you know, is a very special. He's a very special man. How many of us would move heaven and earth for him? Sure, as you know. And he was going to post me his, and then I was going to post it back to him, and all this sort of stuff. Or he was just going to send me the head or whatever, and I was just like, it'd be simpler if I just send you my entire figure. So yeah, I just sent it over to him. Left me without a Johnny Storm, but I have another friend who's sending me one. D21 Beast. He has a very good, when I say very good, it's an understatement, YouTube channel with toy reviews, Marvel Legends stuff, Mini-Mates, Mega Blocks, Marvel Select, well not Marvel Select, Diamond Select stuff, also Marvel Select, but yeah, not limited to Marvel Select. So I do recommend you go check out his channel, but D21 Beast is sending me a Johnny Storm. It's very kind, because I understand they have a lot of sales of Marvel Legends at the moment in Walgreens across America and that kind of thing. So $12.99 for some Marvel Legends right now. It's a golden age, people. Some of the best Marvel Legends we've ever seen are out there on sale. Go get them. Jamar Grove says they were $10 just this past week at Target. Rubbing it in, Jamar. Don't get anywhere in the retail stores, that is. Online. Bit of a different story, but so I'm gonna do this this room that goes round his face, this frame. I'm gonna do that blue, I think. Maybe I need to check my source material. So I've got on the wall here all my KANG picks. So yeah, the frame around his mask is usually blue. On the Marvel Legends figure of him, it was a darker purple, which actually looked pretty nice. But I'm not sure. We'll go with the blue and see how that looks. What will I go for? Brush is too wet. Sorry, I'm just focusing on just now. Righty. Okay, so that's just the base coat, base colour of the blue there. Still got to do highlights and all that. What have we got going on? Mark Gary says, is there beard on that his actual facial hair or something artificial? Not sure what that means. You mean this thing on Kang? It's like a pharaoh's beard. Kang does have a beard, but there we are. Aston Chain, have you heard the news that Brian Michael Bendis has Marvel Life to join DC Thoughts? You asking me about what I think about Brian Michael Bendis moving away from Marvel to DC? Great, good. I'd never liked his writing, so I'm happy that he's away from my favourite comic company, but still not happy that he's going to another comic company. As Oz says, I may be ruining the surprise. Will there be Kang's alternate heads? No, there will not. Christian Miranda says, are you going to give it more contrast between the face and the helmet? Yes, of course. I've yet to do the highlights on his face. I've not done the eyes, the teeth, and the highlights going round his thing. Then we've got someone who is trying to troll me by calling me gay. I am gay, so that's not an insult. And if you're trying to, then I'll just fucking ban you. I don't give a shit. Don't feed the troll, people. Adam Cooper says, I'd have gone for gold for the trim on the helmet. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're going to see. That's part of the kind of issue with customizing when you have it all separate, is that you don't really see how all the things balance until they come together, unless you've done a full color design up front. So we'll see, but I think the gold on the helmet might be a bit much, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. I've got these two colours, Temple Guard Blue, and then this Edge Baharos Blue, and I don't really know how different they actually are. Yeah, one's much, well, a bit lighter than the other, but they're not hugely different shades. As Oz says, I'm looking forward to Bendis writing Superman. That's good. I'm not, but I don't buy Superman anyway, so my opinion means little on that front. Frater Sanguinus says, I'm loving this video. Always nice to watch another's process. I'm going to have to scoop up some of those nail brushes. I would really recommend it. They're really, They're really, really good for doing this sort of stuff. Oh, it's a bit dry. Yeah, thank you very much for the nice compliment. I'm glad somebody's getting something out of this. I almost have as many likes as I have viewers at the moment. That's encouraging. Corbin Fan 84 says, I loved the overall job you did on the head, Craig. Thank you very much. Trying hard, trying hard. Corbin Fan also says, I like the Egyptian beard you gave him. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not being very talkative right now, but it's very difficult to concentrate on the very small line work and the chat going on. I've also got the chat is just on my phone. Normally I have my tablet off to the side with the chat exclusively on that, so I can read it separately. It's much easier for me. But I'm just kind of concerned as my as the stream crashed last time. I don't want to like confuse it by me having two, the YouTube app open in two different places. I just want to have this. Don't want to take the risk of crashing another stream. Although I've kind of got to. I think we've got enough footage on this one now, to be honest. Now, some of the line work I've done there is a little bit sloppy. So what I'm going to do is just tidy it up with some of the original base colour, with maybe just a little bit of the highlight mixed in. Sometimes to get a really thin line, it's easier to paint a messy line and then bring the colour next to it closer. If that makes any sense to you. Michael Wisman says it's really coming along great. Hello, Michael. Didn't know you were still here. Glad you are. Been watching the whole stream, he says, while I cook and get ready for the day. Laserduck says I literally just went into town for 2 hours to pick up some comics. I came back and you're still going. Yep, I outlasted you. Frater Sanguina says, or is it Frater? I don't know. I stumbled across your work some years ago searching for a decent Carnage figure. From there, I found sites like Figure Realm and The Whoosh. That's good. I put you onto those guys. And that Carnage put you onto me. Hoth Rebel 86 says, who is Kang again? A car salesman? I don't follow Marvel Comics, sorry. Laserduck says, I'm quite interested in reading about Kang. Does anyone know a good gateway into the character? So to both of you, I would recommend reading Avengers Forever. It's a 12-issue miniseries that is kind of set outside of time. So it can really be read at any point. It's got Avengers from the past, present, and future in it. And it's a story really about Kang and the future of humanity and the future of the Avengers. So I'd recommend reading that. It really got me to appreciate Kang. It's quite continuity heavy in that it explains a lot of Avengers history. So if you make it through, you will undoubtedly understand a lot more about the Avengers than you did when you went in. Kang is a man from the 30th century. He was incredibly bored in the 30th century, so he developed time travel, which was banned in his society. It was a very peaceful time, but time travel was banned. He developed a time machine based on someone else's plans, and he travelled back in time to ancient Egypt, where he became a pharaoh. The Fantastic Four travelled back in time, met him coincidentally, and defeated him. He was using his future technology to put himself on a pedestal, essentially. He travelled, then he fled the Fantastic Four, ended up in the 40th century, and which was a time torn apart by constant warfare, and but everyone had degenerated into some sort of simpleton barbarians. He used his advanced technological knowledge to subdue them and steal their 40th century technology that they didn't know how to use, and became Kang the Conqueror. He now travels through time, seeking out battle and looking for conquest. It's his main drive, and he is particularly obsessed with the 20th and now the 21st century, of course, and defeating the Avengers, who constantly thwart him. But that's really all he is. He's a time travelling conqueror. He has very few good quality stories, to be honest. They're very, being a time traveller, they're very continuity heavy, convoluted. They tend to involve a lot of time travel themselves, which is unfortunate. Is one of the worst devices in comics and really anything. Kang often gets landed with time travel stories. While it's often his method of course, travelling to confront the Avengers. It's not what he's really about. He's not really about time travel. It would be like always making a Fantastic Four story always about the Fantastic Car, because that's how they get around. Kang is more about war and conquest than he is about time travel. So it's he often gets landed with convoluted stories. You know, it's like if there are any Doctor Who fans here, you probably know that the the best Doctor Who stories rarely involve time travel as the solution or the major plot point. It's always sort of the window dressing is time travel, but so I'm just going for really, really bright white at the moment, just to I'll change these eventually. Oh my goodness, I'm over the 3 hour mark. I'm gonna. just going to really water down that very bright edge that I've been using here. I'm just going to try and drop it in his eye. Just to give it a bit of a colour. Kind of the line and the eye to be, you know, the line is almost emerging from the eye. I want, you know, there to be some kind of Tron-like elements that read sort of impossible futuristic technology. I do want that kind of impression to be, oh, a bit of fluff on me. I don't want that to come from the eye. Tidy up a little, but yeah, that looks okay, right? Love it when a plan comes together. That light blue that's on his face there, the lines, you know, balances against these, sort of draws the parts together. Is what I'm kind of hoping at the end of the day, is that these little sort of touches of colour and design make all these things sort of come together as a design that looks like it belongs. There we have it. I need to make the teeth a bit better. They're quite messy in there. But yeah, that's just a matter of patience. But yeah. How's that looking? Let me read back on some of the comments. Frater Sanguina says, now customizing and collecting in general take up a substantial portion of both my life and wallet, so thanks for that. Yeah, well, I've infected you. You're more than welcome. Zach Zone says, I recently watched your 2016 Secret Santa series, which was a stunning figure. 2016, that was Pennywise, wasn't it? And saw you used biceps that were originally too small for the base figure. Really? Maybe. I can't remember now. What would you do if the bicep was too big? That's a tough one. If the peg hole was too big for the peg, then I don't know. Maybe fill it in with like hot glue or epoxy glue. It's a 2-part clear resin that you can put in, but you have to keep things moving. Or replace the peg with a screw that fits the bicep, or use a totally different bicep. Hasim Badillo, sorry if I said your name wrong, says, seeing you painting is very relaxing. Am I the only one? No, I'm very relaxed as well while I'm doing it. That's why I do it. Hoth Rebel 86 says, do you know of any fully articulated horse figurines that can ride a 6-inch Marvel Legend can ride? there is a Figma horse, but there's also, I think that might be just a little bit too small. The Lord of the Rings figures had some horses. They have like action features in the legs though, so I've never had one. I don't know how they are, but a lot of people go for the Lord of the Rings ones. Um, oh yeah, Laser Duck then says about the Figma um, things. Christian Miranda says now he looks like a skinny Thanos. Does he? Mm, well, if you say so, boss. Um, Odiasu says would be really cool to see him with an unmasked face, not to give you more work to do. Yeah, you know, I kind of have boxed myself into this corner where I tend to do a lot of accessories, additional parts for my customs, and this guy doesn't really have a lot going on beyond the design of the figure and the weapons. Um, he doesn't have additional parts. He doesn't have a diorama to go with them. So I don't know. I mean, an unmasked head might be cool, but without his mask on, he's kind of just an old man with a goatee beard. But I don't know. I could see what I can do. Um, Laser Duck. Oh, there's Gabriel Roman. Hello, Gabriel. Thanks for joining us. Laser Duck says looks great. Thank you. Kairos1 says great paintwork, Craig. Thank you very much. And Michael Wisman says that looks fantastic, and he spelt fantastic like the advertising for the completely awful but somehow lovable, lovably bad Fantastic Four movie from a couple of years ago. Um, thank you very much, everyone. So, I guess that is where we are at with Kang. So, what did we see today? We saw me airbrush a lot of him, um, get all the purples and blues in place, and the golds. I'll have to work on that as well. And then working on the face, doing edge highlighting and that sort of thing. Ashton Chain says, "How did you remove the arm?" Fundamental customizing technique. Oh, right. Hold on. So there's two things that are going on here. The fundamental customizing technique to remove the bicep from the shoulder. You heat this until it expands, and then you pull it free of that. To remove this from here, it's you know, some people are like, how do I get the arms out of the figure? That's you can spend a lot of time cracking a torso and taking it apart, or you can heat it up and slip your knife in somewhere here on either side of this peg and cut through it, and then heat it up again and pry it off, and then you're just heating it on, and it's essentially like this. See that? That you're fitting through there, and you're just separating one side of it. Separate that from there, and that's essentially what I'm doing there. And you can do that to pretty much any joint that works. I've done it with the wrist as well. I've done it here. You can see, you just cut that in there. And once it's on and it's attached, you don't really need to worry about gluing it back together because it tends to stay that way. You don't have a lot of prying force on it. So yeah, it works out fine. Righty. So I think that's about me done for this live stream, to be honest. I'll keep working away on him. I don't know if there'll be enough to sort of enough different stuff going on for me to warrant another live stream. So the next time you see him, he may be complete. He may not be. I don't know. Yeah, see where we get to. Let me see. Is that's me caught up on all the comments. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me and watching me very quietly go at this for about 4 hours. hope you've got your money's worth out of this, because it's for free, isn't it? Christian Miranda says, just live stream it, please. I would, Christian, but it's a lot of it's stressful to do it all the time, and that it's not what I know. I do really enjoy sharing this with you guys, but sometimes I want to just sit here and face the TV and watch something terrible and just go at my own pace, take things easy, not feel like I have to be showing something off and giving some sort of tangential life experience guru lesson in customizing. So there we are. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. If you have any more comments, now is the time, because I'm not going to be on for very much longer. I guess that's it then. Nothing's coming through sparklingly. Okay, well. Up my nose, up my nose. Here we go. Right, thank you very much, everyone. Much appreciated you joining me as ever. Until next time, pour on the power. Bye bye.